back to Wired Roots. Today we have a product review. We got ourselves a new coffee maker. I originally wanted a true espresso machine.
With the baby on its way, we were looking for something a little more convenient and easier to use than our French press.
Did a lot of research, and what we came up with was this Ninja Barista. It's what they call like a 3-in-1. On this side, you have Nespresso pods. On this side, you have your standard brew with timers, and then you can brew it into a cup or a mug here. So it really has all of the features that we're looking for espresso, coffee, and it even does iced coffee. I wanted to explain how this works. A couple of things on this machine that I'm not sure about, and I want to explore with a engineering mindset. So let's get after it. All right, so a general overview of the system. We got our brew type. We have classic, rich, and over ice. Each one, as you can see here, it brews 20, well, you can adjust your by rotating here. For two of us, we found that the rich 26 ounce seems to be the best. So we have classic, rich, and over ice, and each one has a varying amount. My curiosity here is what water temperature comes out on these three. And also I'm gonna measure how much actually comes out. We're gonna calibrate this setting to see how much water comes out between classic, rich, and over ice. Before buying this, convenience was the major factor. One of the main requirements was to have a paper coffee filter so that we could just pull it out. And then we're just gonna take that right over here. And that way it is very quick to switch out the coffee. We went from a French press, which requires, going to the sink, rinsing it out, a lot of extra steps and work whenever you want your caffeine quickly. That was a requirement for this one. This takes the number 4 conical filters. All right, now we're gonna check brew temperature of the classic, rich, and over ice. So when you're ready, you just hit the center button and it's gonna start the classic. All right, the first brew starts off a little cold on the classic. All right, we got up to 192 here, still climbing. It does a decent job at keeping the temperature steady. It's sitting about 197 without much fluctuation through the middle of the pot. And that's what it looks like when you need to add water. Just filled it back up, and as you can see here, the indicator says add what appears to be water, and then it'll continue right where it left off. All right, we're slowly dropping at the end here as it's trickling off. Now you gotta wait about 2 minutes after it's done brewing for it to beep, and then it says that everything's done. What I want to show you down here is we brewed just a little bit more than 28 ounces. I measured and calibrated, put 2 lines on here for 26 and 28 ounces. Looks like we did more like 30 ounces. All right, now we're gonna test the rich roast. All right, we've topped off the water, and I want to show you how to get to the rich roast from start. So turn it off, we're gonna turn it on, we're gonna hit the brew button, and then we're gonna hit the brew button again to select rich. It'll drop us down to 26 ounces, and then we hit start, and we're gonna check the temperature on this rich just to see, maybe it pulses the water different, maybe it brews at a higher temperature. I'm wondering what these 3 settings are actually doing for us. Slow start, 170, oh, well, there we go, jumped up to 193. All right, it did its initial few ounces, just like the classic roast, completely stopped. Okay, now this is an opportunity to show you with this button. So we can actually close the output while it's brewing, so you can steal a cup. And it pauses the brewing, so it won't dispense any more fluid. Okay, so here's the second pulse of water. Thus far, we're not seeing any change in temperature from the rich. I expected to see higher temperatures. Oh, there we go, we got 198. 200. Okay, so the rich is just slightly higher temperature. has a longer dwell time. Oh, we just hit 201. Oh, it dropped real quick. See if we can get that back up here. 201. So by closing this, while it's at the end of its cycle, you can finish the cycle quickly. So if you walk up and it's sitting there for the last 2 minutes and there's nothing coming out, you can close this and it'll stop the cycle from brewing. Now we're ready to brew another pot. It did trap a little bit in there, as you can see, so you wouldn't want to leave that closed. That's just to snag a cup. And our volume came just shy. It looks to be right between our 26 and 28, so it's again another ounce and a half heavy. All right, we got the water filled up again. We're gonna start from scratch. Power button. We're gonna go down to Over Ice. It's gonna bump us up to our 28 ounces. And then just as a reminder, you can select your size. We're right around the half a pitcher for 2 of us. So the Over Ice, 28 ounces, and let's go. Hit the brew button. Over Ice. Now the Over Ice is supposed to be the strongest brew, with the Classic being the weakest brew. So what we should see is higher temperatures and longer dwell time, so that you can extract more of the flavor out of the coffee. And there's its first burst, just like the other 2. Now the hot one. That first burst is pretty cold. It just gets up into the low 90s. All right, we just hit 200 on the 3rd pulse of water on the Over Ice setting. Oh wow, I'm sitting here waiting for it. And this Over Ice setting is not at all what I expected. It said it brewed 28 ounces, and you know we're gonna measure this here, but it appears to be somewhere around like 16, maybe 12 ounces. I couldn't find it in the documentation. It must be considering that you filled your cup with ice, a 28 ounce carafe with ice, or a Yeti mug. Filled it up with ice, brewed it in top, and then you get 28 ounces. That would make sense to me, but we're gonna measure this and see how much coffee we brewed. All right, so when we brew Over Ice and it says 28 ounces, we actually only get just a little bit over 14 ounces here. So what that's assuming is that you have the rest of it in ice, which makes sense. So this is gonna brew by far your strongest coffee. It's half of your 28 ounce. So that's the temperatures and the volume of each of these. Next, we're gonna move on to our Nespresso side. All right, since I'm new to the Nespresso game, I found it a little confusing per se with all the terminologies. On this coffee maker, there's 3 settings. You can start off with Espresso, goes to Lungo, and then Over Ice. It does not have a Ristretto option on this brewer. But when you get your Nespresso pods, you can buy them.
All right, so I wanted to add a little more clarity here. I just went to Amazon and typed in Nespresso variety pack. And as you can see, we get the Virtuo pods. Those do not work with our Ninja. You have to get the original. And here's a example, if you want to pause here, of the original versus the Virtuo and the different sizes and brewing methods that each of them use. If we come back here, the pods that I picked up, you end up with the Ristretto Espresso mix here. And if you want to brew a larger cup of coffee with this pod system, you're going to want to buy, most of the time the Lungo comes in their own pack here. So you'll want to type in Lungo and then come down and make sure that they are all Lungo, because they can come in all different varieties. So just want to make sure that you're getting what you're looking for.
All right, this part's simple. You pop your lever, you drop this down with the foil facing out, and you slam your lever forward. You turn on your brewing station, your barista. We're gonna go with Espresso to begin with. Then we'll hit start brew. And that's the espresso shot. Now the cool thing here is when you pop this up, it pops that down in to your base. There's a few more in there from earlier. That's our tiny little espresso shot with that crema on top. Oh man, that looks good. When you're done, all of your empty pods go into here, which is quite nice. So you can brew probably a week's worth. All right, so the next one, we're gonna brew a Lungo. And start brew. All right guys, last we're gonna brew is the Over Ice option. And again, just drop it down in. Make sure you put your glass in. Slam that down and then hit start brew. All right, and here's the 3 outputs of the Nespresso options from our Ninja coffee maker. Here is the Espresso. As you can see, there's just a little bit in there. And nice crema on top. Here's the Lungo. Has a little bit more of that white foam. Probably a little bit weaker, but you get more volume, more extraction. And the smallest of them all, which is the Over Ice. I would actually put them very similar. Let's compare these two. Yeah, it is less volume. And this one comes out in about 3 spurts, 2 or 3, and this one comes out all in 1. So you probably get a stronger crema on the Espresso than you do on the Over Ice. Over Ice being the strongest. All right, that's gonna do it for our Ninja Barista coffee machine. As you guys can see, you can brew large carafes all the way down to the smallest shot of espresso at the most convenient brewing options. So it really does cover a lot in a tiny package. It is gonna accomplish all of the goals that we set out to accomplish with this little guy. So if you like this, leave a like, comment, subscribe. I'm gonna leave a link for this in the description. If you follow that, that's an affiliate link that will help support this channel. So thanks for watching, guys. See ya.